For now, I'm going to move to the next prompt, which is from Duke University. This isn't one we've seen so far in this presentation, and it is specific to the School of Engineering at Duke. So the prompt reads, if you are applying to the Pratt School of Engineering as a first-year applicant, please discuss why you want to study engineering and why you would like to study at Duke. 250 words. So it gives you a little more space. And it also is asking you very clearly, why do you want to study at this school in particular, and why you want to study engineering. So this gives you room to talk about, the type of engineering you're interested in, Duke-specific resources, and how you grew your interest in engineering over time. So let's read through paragraph by paragraph, and after each paragraph, I'll stop and talk a little bit about what it does well and where it can afford to grow a little. One Christmas morning, when I was 9, I opened a snap circuit set from my grandmother. Although I had always loved math and science, I didn't realize my passion for engineering until I spent the rest of winter break creating different circuits to power various lights, alarms, and sensors. Even after I outgrew the toy, I kept the set in my bedroom at home and knew I wanted to study engineering. Alright, so this does something excellent, which is start with an anecdote. It mentions specific things like alarms, lights, sensors, so we can really visualize what's going on here. And it also goes through time very quickly. It doesn't last too long. It says, here's Christmas morning, here's the rest of winter break, and even after I outgrew the toy. I love that temporal growth because it gets us in and out quickly, but it feels like we've been there for a long time. And it makes it kind of nostalgic. It makes the reader feel connected to the writer. So there are a lot of great things in this introduction. The last line is a little much. Here it's a little too on the nose, hitting me over the head with I want to study engineering. This one experience when you're 9 years old may be a little much to ascribe that one experience, just your passion for engineering. It can be a spark that ignited your passion for engineering or made you interested in learning more, but at 9 years old to know you want to study engineering because you had a snap circuit set doesn't feel super believable. So I would maybe reword this sentence or build on it a little more to give you the space to grow into that knowing that you want to study engineering. Let's look at the second paragraph. Later in high school biology class, I learned that engineering didn't only apply to circuits, but also to medical devices that could improve people's quality of life. Biomedical engineering allows me to pursue my academic passions and help people at the same time. Just as biology and engineering interact in biomedical engineering, I am fascinated by interdisciplinary research in my chosen career path. And so this paragraph does a really good job of transitioning from the anecdote to their specific interest in biomedical engineering and how that is where their current interests are, why they're passionate about it. There are a few drawbacks here, one of them being that helping people at the same time is kind of a bit cliche. It is something that is really overused when it comes to talking about health and healthcare. And so you also can help people in a variety of careers. So, biomedical engineering is maybe a bit narrow to say this is the only way you can help people while pursuing academic interests. Any type of engineering ideally will be there to advance people's lives. Civil engineering, mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, all of these things are designed to help people in the long run at the very least. So it doesn't ring particularly authentic to say that this is the only way to do so. Maybe talking about engaging with hands-on projects or developing devices that have the ability to prolong patients' lives or ease suffering. These are more specific to biomedical engineering and can make it seem a little more genuine and get to the heart of your passion a little bit more clearly and quickly. I'd also be interested to hear more about the types of medical devices or types of interdisciplinary research they're interested in. Interdisciplinary research is admirable for sure, but it's also a little bit of a buzzword. So without specifics and what kinds of intersections they're looking for, it again rings a little hollow, a little false. And so giving more details here, or even just a couple words, more specific adjectives or nouns here would be really helpful, because right now it's a little bit big picture, and then one other thing they say here is that they talk about their chosen career path, which I don't know what their career path is other than biomedical engineering as a field of study. There are lots of things that you can do with a biomedical engineering degree. Do you want to go into, research and development for products? Do you want to go into medicine proper? Do you want to be working at a company that is marketing a product, developing them, testing them? Do you want to be leading these studies where they're patient-facing, or do you want to be really in the weeds of designing something and maybe writing code for them? What's going on in your career that you are excited to pursue biomedical engineering as a part of? And then they have a few more paragraphs, so I don't want to get too bogged down here. This next paragraph goes, Duke offers unmatched resources, such as DU Hatch and the Foundry, that will enrich my engineering education and help me practice creative problem-solving skills. The emphasis on entrepreneurship within these resources will also help me to make a helpful product. Duke's BAS Connections program also interests me. I firmly believe that the most creative and necessary problem-solving comes by bringing people together from different backgrounds. And so this paragraph obviously takes on the challenge of the second part of the question, saying, this is how I'm going to do this at Duke, why it's important to me to do biomedical engineering at Duke. So this is really great in terms of bringing up Duke-specific resources and opportunities. They mention they mentioned the DU Hatch, they mentioned the Foundry, they mentioned the Connections program, but they also mentioned this sort of spirit of entrepreneurship that is ingrained in the teaching and the education at Duke, because it's an important part of the design process, it's an important part of engineering as a field, but it's also, something that is important to Duke's academic philosophy. So it shows that this person didn't just do their research by Googling, it's something that they really feel a connection to. You might want to add something, if you have room, about how the entrepreneurship skills that you develop won't just help you make a good product, but help you keep your target population at the forefront of your mind when designing a product, so you know what's going to be accessible for them or helpful for them or important for them, and putting those people first. As they said earlier, they want to help people, so making sure that the patients and their target population is always at the forefront of their work and their motivations. They also have some weaknesses here, or maybe some things that could be strengthened. The first sentence, that Duke has unmatched resources, is kind of generic, kind of blah. They can cut it, they can spruce it up if they have the room or the time. But Duke already knows that they're well regarded in the engineering field. You can get right to the meat and potatoes of it. And another thing here is that they have this sort of vague idea that they're going to develop problem-solving skills, become creative, and enrich their engineering education through Duke. Just, again, get to the specifics of it. We don't need 2 transition sentences here. We don't even really wholly need the first one, so definitely condense on this. You also say creative problem-solving a couple times here. In the first sentence, in this first sentence, and at the end as well. It really works at the end. Bringing people together through engineering is a really great thought to put in here, but earlier on it is a little less powerful. It has a little less oomph to it because it's kind of vague, and having it twice detracts from even the second, more powerful iteration of it. So you want to be careful of things like that, using uncommon words or phrases several times, especially really close together, because that can weaken the cadence of it. There is one more paragraph, and I'm going to sort of move through it, and then we can talk about the essay as a whole briefly before we move into the Q&A. Through this program, I can use my engineering education to solve complicated societal problems, such as creating sustainable surgical tools for low-income countries. Along the way, I can learn alongside experts in the field. Duke's openness and collaborative culture span across its academic disciplines, making Duke the best place for me to grow both as an engineer and as a social advocate. So there are some strengths here. It's succinct. It ties together all of the paragraphs that we've had here, the interests, the Duke resources. It makes it feel really complete by the time they get to the end. And then combining engineering and social advocacy is a great thought. It really is in line with the rest of the essay and shows that they are person-minded, not machine-minded. It shows that they're really dedicated to community, and this is something that Duke values, of course, as well. And so maybe they can take some of these ideas and incorporate them a little earlier, like throwing social advocacy into the part where they talk about their chosen career path, which, again, I said was kind of vague. They want to get that specific in there. There are a few weaknesses as well. There's some awkward wording. Duke's openness and collaborative culture. If they just say Duke's open and collaborative culture, it flows more easily and is a little less bumpy. And they love that they have this specific idea of creating sustainable surgical tools for low-income countries. It would be nice if that could come in earlier in the essay. If they need to cut words, there are a few sort of nothing phrases here, like learning from experts in the field, but that's not necessarily a weakness if they have the room for it. It's a nice touch. There are going to be experts anywhere, and Duke knows they have experts, so you don't have to say it, but again, it's something that really pulls together the ideas of doing and learning.